I'm Will, and welcome to Will's Digitals, your home for everything Photoshop and composite art. Today we're going to talk about how to easily select a subject with lots of fur or hair from the background and make it look great. We're also going to look at the problems that arise when you extract something from a dark background and put it on a lighter background, and vice versa. And of course, I'm going to show you how to solve the problem. So let's get started. For this, I'm going to use a picture of a long-haired cat that I got from Pexels. I searched my stock and I didn't really have a suitable fur picture, so we just pulled this one from stock. All right, first let's make a background. I'm going to, first let's take the background and turn it into a Photoshop layer. Now we're going to add a background. And we're going to fill this with black. The reason we're doing a black background is because the black background's easier to use for extractions. It helps you see what you need to pull out. Plus the tools and the processes we're going to use seem to have problems with lighter backgrounds. And next, we're going to select the layer with the picture of the cat and open the Select and Mask tool. And when we do that, select and select and mask. There we go. Now we're going to set the transparency to 100%. Now we can't see anything, and what this is anything that's selected we're going to be able to see. Anything that's not selected we can't. Right now nothing's selected, so we can't see it. So now we're going to select subject and give it a minute here. Now, if any of the subject is missed, we can just use a quick selection tool at the top of the toolbar up here. And let's see. No, I think we got most of it. Okay, but if we look along the edges here, it looks really rough and does not look good at all. And then especially over here, we've got these giant places where there's a little bit of hair and a whole lot of background. Well, they made a button for that called Refine Hair, so let's see what that does. It's better, but we're still missing some stuff and we still have some parts of the background we don't want. Let's lower our transparency to like 30%. So we can kind of see what we're doing here. That gives us the ability to kind of see what we were missing. And now we're going to use the Refined Edge brush and let it do an even better job on the fur selection. Now this is our Refined Edge brush right here. Let's make it at least a decent size here. And all we have to do is just run along the edges here, and you see it's already pulling that out. We just keep going around the whole edge of it here. And if you miss a place, don't worry, you can just go back to it. Unfortunately, I don't use a tablet. I just stopped doing it, not for any particular reason. But I think for this stuff, it would make it a lot easier. All right, let's get the other side here. Because trying to do this with a mouse is a little bit challenging, but it can be done. All right, get right into there. We're going to come down through here. Okay, we're going to go get right up around in here real quick. All right, let's bring our transparency back up here. And that looks a bit better, I think. Maybe in there a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, we finished in this tool, but what we need to do is we need to get it out to a place where we can work with it. So on output settings, we're going to output to a layer mask. Okay. And now, as you can see, we have a layer mask of the cat. And you notice the background is pretty much gone. Now we see the black layer through it. All right, now we can fine tune this a little bit more. It looks good, but I think we can do even better. Let's have a look at the mask itself. And we're just going to hold down the Option key on a Mac or the Alt key on a PC and just click on the mask. Ooh, okay, we have a little bit to clean up here too. We can start by looking for any major places in the interior or in the exterior where stuff has gone awry. And we have our brush. And for this, we're just going to very carefully, we're going to get rid of these big blobs that somehow got missed. And this blob. Now, I'm going to show you actually how to clean up the edges a little bit better here. And what we're going to do is we're on our layer mask, we're looking at our layer mask, and we're going to change our mode, our blend mode on the brush to overlay. The cool thing about overlay as a blend mode when we're working with these layer masks is right now, let's say we have our paint set to black. With overlay, if we color on white, if we paint on white with it set to black, it does nothing. And the same is true if we reverse that using the X key on the keyboard. That makes us painting in the foreground with white. If we try to paint on black, nothing happens. So here's what's actually going on behind the scenes. If you're painting on white and something is greater than 50% gray, it will make it lighter, and it'll affect the areas closer to 100% more than it will the ones closer to 50%. So basically, if you're painting on something that's over 50% gray, it's going to take it up and make it brighter. The same is true for the darks. If it's under 50% gray, it will make it darker, but it will affect areas closer to 0% more than areas closer to 50%. So now all we have to do is, I'm going to make mine a little bigger here, is just kind of gently go around the edges and notice how we're bringing more of the hair in, but we're not really bringing more of the stuff in here. So we just kind of go around here lightly. Then let's get that little fluff up there. And there we go. Let's see if we got anything we missed up here. No, I think we're good. Let's have a look. So all we have to do is just click on the layer. And now we have a really good extraction. I think that looks really good. That looks really good on a dark background. And we talked about this toward the beginning of the video, that it may look a little different when we change the background to a light color. So let's change it to, say, a blue. Whoops. Somehow we have our blend mode set wrong. Normal. There we go. Now, if you notice, the hair just doesn't look right. The little fine hairs over here just don't look right. Now, the reason is, and I can show you if we disable this layer mask, you notice that this was photographed on a pretty dark background. Well, these hairs are so fine and thin that they pick up whatever the color is in the area they're being photographed. So this is a dark picture. All these little hairs, even though they kind of look white as we're looking at them here, they're actually shaded kind of a dark gray. Consequently, all of these are a dark gray, which doesn't look right with the blue background because, as we just said, if it's a light background, you expect the tiny hairs to be colored at least somewhat similar or in the same range as that lighter background. So this is fairly easy to fix, and I'm going to show you how. So if you want to lighten something up, what blend mode do you use? That's going to be screen. So we're going to turn this screen to screen blend mode. And I realize that it's got a nice blue cast on it. That's fine. Trust me, we're going to get there. Now, we want to bring out more of the light. So what we're going to do is, using Command or Control J, we're going to copy and make duplicates of the layers. The whole cat does not look right at the moment. So what we need to do is one more Control J, and we're going to take this one and we're going to change its blend mode to normal. Well, now we're right back where we started from, but we have all this light color underneath, and all we're going to have to do is, on a layer mask, we're just going to paint in the light around the edges, which is the only place that this is really being affected by the background color, and it should fix it right up. Now, one thing, I'm going to give you a free tip here. So all of our layer masks match, and I don't want to mess that up. I could do what we're about to do on this layer mask, but I really think, depending on what I need to do with it later, I really want these to stay the same. So now here's a little trick. If you have a layer mask and you need another layer mask, you can't actually add a new one to it, but you can fake it. And here's how you do it. You go down and you choose your layer, and then you right click and you choose New Group from Layers. Okay, now our layer is part of a group, and the group can also have a layer mask. So now we put the layer mask on here, and we don't want to forget to turn that off of overlay and put it back to normal, or this will just, it'll be like you're painting and nothing's happening. So now all we have to do, we're painting with black, so we're going to just go right around the edges here. A couple places I may need to go back and fix, but I'm trying to just kind of get the edges there, because that's where the hair that's the problem is. Do you sometimes lose track of your mouse as well? That's what happened to me just now. And it happens to me quite a bit. Okay, so we want to make his big whiskers, and notice we can paint, and the white is getting on the whiskers, but we're not painting white anywhere else. There's one, and we'll get this, and then we're going to come in just right up around his head here, and now we have a pretty good looking extraction on a white background or a light background. I think that looks great. Okay, so what if you're moving the extraction from a light background to a dark background? It's the exact same thing except for the blend mode you use. So the dark version of screen blend mode is multiply. So all we have to do is these layers down here that are all set to screen, we would just need to change them to multiply, and we would be good to go. Everything else is exactly the same. So you would just paint in, but you're painting in, and it's going to turn dark instead of being light. So there we go. We learned how to do a fantastic fur extraction and move it from a dark background to a light background, and vice versa. Hope you got some good info here. Please like, comment, and subscribe because it really helps the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.